Hey, I'm Ed Bolian from VINwiki, and I have a problem. I have accumulated, as I tend to do, far too many cars, and it is time to sell several of them. In fact, all 6 of these are currently for sale with no reserve, live right now on Cars and Bids. Cars and Bids was started several years ago by my good friend Doug DeMuro. It is the best online enthusiast auction marketplace that you could ever dream of, and the perfect venue to sell such storied and incredible cars as these. And so I hope that if you're not already registered to bid on Cars and Bids, that you'll head over there now. I may still be the idiot that spent the most money on that website in one purchase ever when I bought the Blue Mercy, sort of by accident. But regardless, these are going to be some wonderful values, at least I hope not. But I hope that you'll navigate over there at the link in the description below to check out Cars and Bids and look at these cars that are for sale. Now, as happy as I am to clear the space and hopefully mean that other cars are on the way, I am very, very sad because of these 6 cars, at least 4 of them I like a lot, including my Diablo, the Audi TT or the Bugatti from CarTrek, the family GL63 that served us well for the last 6 years, and my S55 that won the 2015 running of the 2904 Cannonball Run race from New York to California. I love them all, I just can't drive them, so now you can, and I cannot wait through the VINwiki app and everything else that you do with them to see what else happens as the stories of these cars continue to unfold. But I'll walk you around each one, tell you a little bit more about it, and I can't wait to see you over there in the bids and the comments on Cars and Bids. This is my 1997 Lamborghini Diablo SV, and I'm only wearing one shirt and my pants go all the way down to my shoes, but I'm going to do my best Doug DeMuro impression as I tell you about a car that I truly, truly love. Now, this car has existed in many forms in its life. It was originally red, Rosso Imola from the factory, and then it lived most of its life in Japan, and so it is bedazzled and adorned with lights. And at one point, it had considerably more than that, but we've pared that back just a little bit in the last couple of years of turning it in several different forms. Initially, we took off the rest of the lights and some of the rhinestones and turned it Verde Scandal, a very rare color that really no US cars, I think there's 2 of them technically, that were painted that color, and I just thought it was a great look for the car. We put the graphics back on, put the right wheels, the right bumpers, the right wing, and turned it into a much more stock, presentable car. And since then, it appeared on the Tex-Mex Motors show starring Rob Rabbit Pitts, and they turned it Arancio, California, the correct pearlescent orange that the car should be. I think it is spectacular. I love it. It still has some of the Alcantara. It's got the red accented seats, which we've struggled to explain, but as a perfect, don't worry about anything, driver quality Diablo, you cannot get any better than this. Now, I'm happy to be keeping the Victoria's Secret Diablo, but there are some meaningful preferences that I have towards the 97 versus a US 1998 car. You'll notice the motorcycle style filler cap on the side of the car as opposed to a body colored panel that flaps open to expose it. I think that's way cooler. The car also has the OZ wheels rather than the Kinesis chrome wheels that the Monterey editions and the Victoria's Secret car had in the US. The full Alcantara interior is lighter. The fixed suspension on the Euro cars is much more reliable. There are no airbags to go off or to go wrong and cause an airbag light. The contrasting wing, I think, is perfect. The matte black graphics. I love the spec of this car. Now, I've made videos about the paint quality and stuff like that, so don't expect perfection with anything I am ever selling, and this is certainly consistent with that. But whether you want to go back to full Yakuza, more rhinestones, swirly paint, whatever, or whether you just want to drive a car as far as you want and never worry about a thing, this is your Lamborghini Diablo SV. It's hard to get a better story than a CarTrek story, and this is my latest car from CarTrek, CarTrek 11, cheap sports cars that would go from Tyler's house in Wichita, Kansas to the nearest beach, which happened to be Galveston, Texas. So we shot that, and I drove it home from here. That was about 1,000 miles. I drove it maybe another 1,000 miles home, just took it another 1,000 miles on an adventure to celebrate some birthdays with some car-loving friends. So we did racetracks and things like that. And while we were in Galveston, if you haven't seen it already, this is a spoiler alert, but Andy House, the guy who drove his own own real Bugatti into the Galveston Bay back in 2009 in some insurance fraud, drove mine into the Galveston Bay as well, or the Gulf of Mexico really, I suppose is where we were at that point. Honestly, we didn't go that deep. It was probably only about there or so, but we did it a bunch, like several times to get the best shot. Tyler dressed as a pelican, distracting him. And so this is not actually, as much as I'm sure you're fooled, a 2002 Audi TT 1.8 with the high output 225 horsepower configuration of the KO4 turbocharger. It is not a real Bugatti, but Tyler Hoover did hand paint it, or at least with a rattle can, red over red to match my Bugatti Veyron Grand Sport, which is tucked away, very safe and sound, not for sale without reserve on Cars and Bids, but this one is. And so whatever you've got in mind for it, I can't imagine what it is, but I also cannot wait to watch it unfold for whatever the next adventure is for the Car Trek Audi Bugatti T. I've owned this car for the last 11 years, but for the last 5 or so, it spent most of its time at the Miles Through Time Museum. And I love it, but I really would love to see it do more fun things, because this car, this 2002 S55 AMG, is the car that I used to set the competitive event New York to LA record in the 2904 in 2015. So a couple of years after I set the Cannonball record in the CL55, I learned that there were other crazy people that did this in cheap cars, kind of like the 24 Hours of Lemons meets the Cannonball run. But I thought it was an amazing challenge to drive for less than $1 a mile from New York to California, and we won. It's where I met John Ficarra and Arnie Toman and other cannonballers that have become this fraternity of lunatics that we love so much. And I got to build on what we learned from the CL55 to really make this the ultimate cannonball car. It is still fully set up, CB, GPS, laser jammer, radar detector, all that stuff is still inside. It also has a 74-gallon single unit fuel tank that you'll have to see in the back. It's awesome. I'll do a more exhaustive video about this on my personal channel, but I cannot wait to see what other adventures, hopefully even more cannonballs, that this thing ends up on, because that is what it really deserves, rather than sitting around in a museum next to my CL55, which also needs to be driven some more, but I'm going to do that. It's not for sale. So this thing is awesome. I love it so much, and I can't wait to see which one of you ends up with it. For the last 6 years, this has been our family car. It's a 2014 GL63 that my wife drove most of the time, and there's a couple little dings, dents, scratches, and things like that, consistent with my wife running the 2 kids around in it, but it has been a wonderful family workhorse, makes great power, makes a great noise, tons of room, 3rd row seating, pearl white over espresso brown, or whatever they call dark brown, and a really, really nicely equipped car. I'll put a full description, obviously, on Cars and Bids, and their customer support team has been there throughout the process of getting all these cars listed to make it so easy to get these things going. Now it's just up to you guys to come in and bid. Obviously, my wife's been driving the electric cars that we get these cheap leases on for a while, but nothing can really replace a big AMG SUV. This is a 2003 Mercedes-Benz SL500, and when these cars came out, I thought they were the coolest thing in the world. They're still very, very cool, but I was able to buy this one for just $1,500 on Facebook Marketplace locally, of course, after searching Auto Tempest to get there. But my plan was to use this for our 40th and 50th birthday extravaganza trip. But in fact, since the TT survived, I let my guys from AP3 Paint Protection drive this on the journey with us. They've clear brought all my cars, and they had a blast. The top actually works. I'm not going to show that, but it kind of works. I can at least deliver it to you up or down, and with some proper holding and some instruction from Cameron, you can get it to work. Now, Cameron Davis and the team at DC Motorworks just went through the car. I spent another $3 grand or so on some brand new Bridgestone tires, another one of our VINwiki sponsors, but they don't give me tires. I just buy them because they're actually so good. And he serviced it, new belts, new everything, new fluids, new brakes, and it was ready to go. So an awesome car that will treat you well. I mean, it's disgusting when I say awesome. I mean, it's really, really rough. The paint's not good, the interior's not good, but it'll go somewhere and you'll have an awful lot of fun with it. Similarly, another car from our birthday extravaganza is this 2011 Mercedes E350 4MATIC wagon. I got this one because the guys who built the VINwiki app wanted to come along and I wanted to have them, and so this is what they drove. It did amazing at autocross and drag racing and road course and everything else we threw at it. This thing did 1,000 miles and did not miss a beat. Now, the coolest thing about this long roof Mercedes is that it is a 7-seater, so it has the pop-up rear seat, so it'll hold all your friends, take them wherever they want to go. and it is awesome. I will concede that right now it's a little bit broken. The shifter is off, it got broken off, and so I've got a new one coming off of eBay, and it'll be on before it leaves, and it'll be ready to go wherever you want to take it. So I've had a ton of fun in all of these cars, but it is time for them to find new homes, and I know they'll get the exposure that I need on Cars and Bids. So head over there right now, bid early, bid often. I don't know if they'll be screaming deals or every possible penny, but either way, I know that you're going to enjoy whichever one you end up with. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments on the Cars and Bids auctions. I'll be sure to chime in there, but I have had a blast with them, and I know that you will too. So thank you to Cars and Bids for making this all possible, and thank you to whoever relieves me of each of these cars. I've also had the team from the Lemon Squad inspect every car, so if you look at the listings, you will find a comprehensive inspection from one of their professional trained mechanics on each of the cars, so you know exactly what they are without having to take my word for it.